Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jong. Today I'm going to share with you how to create a sci-fi corridor in Blender 3D 3.0 and animate it using geometry nodes field workflow. So before we dive into Blender, let me go through what we are going to do in this tutorial. First, we are going to create all the 3D assets we need to form the corridor. So there's a wall, a door, the cage, the blast door, and the floor. Okay, then after we finish all the 3D models, we need to assemble them using geometry nodes. After assemble them, we are going to rig the door. So we are going to control the door movement using an empty object. When the empty object comes closer to the door will open. Then when the empty object leaves the door will close. And then last, we are going to add material, lighting, and set up the camera to finish the scene. By the way, I'm not going to modeling all this 3D model in geometry node because we are not going to animate all the geometry. The only thing we are going to animate is the camera and the door. So in this case, all we need is a semi-procedural corridor which allow us to adjust the length of the corridor, randomize the arrangement of the object, and allow us to rig the door using geometry nodes. So I'm going to walk you through how to modeling all this stuff. We are going to take quite a lot of time to modeling this 3D asset. I assume this video will be very long. If you don't want to modeling this yourself, you can also download this asset in the description below and skip the video to geometry node section. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Before we start anything, let's go to the edit, preference, add-on, and search for the both tools. Activate it. We are going to use it for modeling later. Okay, first, we are going to start from the wall. So select all and delete everything. Press Shift A and add a circle. Reduce the vertices to 6. Rotate the rotation Y 90 degrees. Press Ctrl A and apply the rotation. Go into edit mode, select all vertices. Press Shift Ctrl B to bevel it. Then change the width to 0.09. The segment to 4. Press numpad 3 to see the right view. Press Ctrl R and add 2 points in the center. Then delete half of the hexagon. Select all vertices, press E and followed by X to extrude it. In the median for X-axis here, put -2. Exit edit mode, go to the modifier properties tab, add a solidify modifier, increase the thickness to 0.08. And then now we have this ugly line on the mesh. So to fix this, let's change the display mode to shade smooth. And then now the shading is a little bit weird. So to fix this, let's go to the object data properties tab, go to normal and activate auto smooth. Okay, now we fix it. Then duplicate it, duplicate again, then hide both of these for now. Okay, now we can start boolean it. So I want to split the mesh into 3 parts, the upper parts, the middle parts, and the bottom parts. So let's add a cube. Cover the area we want to cut. Duplicate the cube and cover the bottom part. Select the cube and the mesh, then go to the edit tab, click the both tools, then click slice to slice the mesh. Then do the same thing for the upper parts. And now we can move 3 of these parts separately. So let's move the center part slightly behind. Put -0.06 maybe. Then I think we can add another cut for the bottom part. So let's add another cube. Cover the area we want to cut. Then select the cube and select the mesh we want to cut. Go to edit and click difference. Okay, now I want to add some pipe behind the hole. So let's add a cylinder. Make the radius smaller. Make it slightly shorter. Turn 90 degrees. Put it here. Align it with the bottom line. Put it behind the wall. Then add a ray modifier. Maybe we can add a bevel modifier as well. Set it to shade smooth. Go to object data properties and take auto smooth. Okay, then duplicate the pipe to the another side. Okay, now I want to add a light bar at the center. So let's add a plane. Put the plane at the center. Make it smaller. Switch to side view. Put the plane at the center. Press S followed by Y and make it shorter. Press Ctrl A to apply the scale. Go into edit mode, delete only face. Press alternate G to turn on X-ray mode. Then delete these edges as well. Switch the selection mode to vertices. Select all vertices. Then press Shift Ctrl B to bevel it. Turn off X-ray mode, exit edit smooth. Convert it to curve. Go to Object Data Properties tab. Go to Geometry. Under bevel section, increase the depth to 0.02. Okay, then let's add some details onto it. Make it smaller. Then apply the scale. Press numpad / to focus the object. Go into edit mode. Select 4 of these edges. And make it rounded. Okay, then I want to add screw onto it. Let's add a cylinder. Reduce the vertices to 6. Make it smaller and make it shorter. Rotate it 90 degrees. Press Ctrl numpad 1 to see the front view. Then put it for every corner. Exit edit mode. Press numpad / again to unfocus this object. Then duplicate this to another side. Then add a cylinder again. Increase the vertices to 20. Increase the radius and depth. Select this and convert it to mesh. Select all this geometry and join them. Right click, turn this to shade smooth. And remember to tick auto smooth. The shading here is a little bit weird. Let's try to increase the degree to 31 maybe. Okay, now duplicate this and put it at the top corner here. Then I think we can add a little bit more details on the upper parts here. So let's add a cylinder again. Reduce the vertices to 6. Let's duplicate another one and put it below. Join 2 of this cylinder. Select the mesh of upper parts. Go to Edit tab, click Difference. Okay, now we have done the wall. So let's apply all this boolean. Then select the pipe and apply the array modifier. Okay, now let's simply add some material for all this geometry. Press Shift and select this geometry, then press Ctrl L to link the material. For this one, press Shift and select this geometry, then press Ctrl L to link the material. Put black color for this one. Then go into edit mode. Press L to select the cylinder. Add a new material. Press Assign to assign the new material. Change the surface to emission. Then exit the edit mode. Press numpad 3 to see the side view. Duplicate this and put on top here. Then delete the old one. For the pipe, let's put a black color as well. Okay, now let's unhide both of these geometry. I want to add a new material for them. Then press Shift and select this. Press Ctrl L to link the material. Same for this. Add a new material. Link the material. Now select all of this and press Ctrl J to join it. Then press Ctrl A to apply the scale. Press Ctrl A again and apply the rotation. And now I want to move the origin point to this corner. So let's go into edit mode. Select these vertices. Press Shift S and select cursor to selected. Then exit edit mode. Go to object and move origin to 3D cursor. Okay, next we need to create the door. Okay, this is really simple. Let's rename this wall and hide it. Move this to the center. Hide this geometry for now. Again, add a cube. We need to boolean it. Press Ctrl numpad 1 to see the front view. Make the cube smaller. Put it somewhere here. Select both of them. Go to Edit tab. Press Difference. Then we need to make the room. Press Alternate G to turn on X-ray mode. Switch the selection mode to Face Select. Press Ctrl R and add a loop cut at the center. Select this point and move it to the center point of the door. Move this slightly backward. Then select and delete two of these faces. Then move the origin point to this corner. Rename it door. Hide it. Okay, next we need to create the blast door. Activate this. Move this to center. Press Shift S and select cursor to world origin. Add a cube. We need to make a door real. Make the cube smaller. Make it shorter. Move it to the center. Then press Shift D and followed by S. Then followed by X to duplicate it and make it smaller. So this is the door. Okay, now select the big cube. Hold Shift and select this wall. Go to Edit tab and press Difference to boolean it. Okay, now let's move the origin point of the wall to the corner here. Go to Modifier Properties tab. Mirror the wall. Okay, now let's move the origin of the blast door to the center bottom as well. Press numpad slash to unfocus the object. Press numpad 3 to see the side view. Move the door to align with the Z-axis line. Make the door slightly smaller. Then mirror the door as well. Remember to untick merge. We don't want to merge the door. Okay, apply the mirror modifier. Then currently the door is stick together, so we need to split it. Go into edit mode. Press L to select this side of door. Press P and click selection. Then exit the edit mode. So now we have two pieces of door. Okay, then we need to add a little bit design to the door. Let's select this side of door. Press numpad slash to focus this object. Go into edit mode. Press Ctrl R and scroll your mouse to add two loop cuts. Extrude it. Make it smaller. Select 4 of these edges. Press Ctrl B to bevel it. Exit edit mode. Press numpad slash again to unfocus it. Then press Shift D and followed by S. Then followed by X to duplicate and make it wider. Align center with another side of door. Hold Shift and select another side of door. Then press Difference to boolean it. Okay, now let's add bevel modifier. Let's add a material to the door as well. Press Ctrl A to apply the scale for both sides of door. Then let's rename this right door, this one left door, and this one let's put door section. Just put whatever name you like, as long as you remember what it is. Okay, now we have done the entire blast door section. So let's hide all of this for now and move the cursor back to world origin. And next, we are going to make the floor. Okay, press Shift A and add a plane. Make the plane smaller. Apply the scale. Add a cylinder. Reduce the radius to 0.05. Reduce the depth to 0.1. Press numpad 7 to see the top view. Move the cylinder to this corner. Then, let's add an array modifier. For the count, put 9. For the factor x, let's put 3.5. Then add another array modifier. For the count, put 2. For the factor x, put 0.06. For the factor y, put -1. Then add another array modifier again. For the count, put 3. For the factor x, put 0. For the factor y, put -1. Scale this hexagon smaller until it fits into the plane. Then apply all this array modifier. Then hold Shift and select this plane and click difference to boolean it. Add a solidify modifier. Put 0.02 for the thickness. Okay, then I want to add a light beside the floor. So this is very simple. Just add a cube, make it smaller. Move it higher. Press numpad 1 to see the front view. Then make it wider. Then press Ctrl A and apply the scale. Go into edit mode and make some design. Then we can start to add material onto it. Add a new material. Add emission light. Then exit edit mode. And for the floor, let's simply put a black color first. Okay, now let's apply the solidify modifier and join both of them together. Then add a bevel modifier. Increase the segment to 2. Go into edit mode. I want to move the origin to this corner. Exit edit mode, go to object and set origin to 3D cursor. Okay, now we have done the floor, so let's name it floor. Hide it for now. Then press Shift S and move the cursor back to world origin. Next, we need to create the cage with the light. To be honest, I'm not sure if I should call it cage. I'm not sure if there are any professional term for this. So if you know it, please let me know down in the comment below. And let's call it cage for now. Again, press Shift A and add a circle. Reduce the vertices to 6. Rotate it 90 degrees. Press Ctrl A and apply the scale. Press Ctrl A again and apply the rotation. Go into edit mode, press Ctrl R and scroll your mouse to add 3 points. Then delete the point at the center. Press A to select all vertices. Then press Ctrl Shift B to bevel it. Exit edit mode, right click and convert it to curve. Then go to object data properties, go to geometry, bevel, increase the depth to 0.02, then take fill cap. Then convert it back to mesh. Okay, now let's copy the light from the floor we created just now and put it here. So unhide the floor. Go into edit mode, switch the selection mode to face select, press L to select the light. Press Shift D and followed by G to duplicate it. Then press P to separate it, exit the edit mode, hide the floor again. Select the light, go to object and move the origin to geometry, go into edit mode. Make the light shorter and put it onto the hexagon. Okay, now let's mirror the light. Apply the bevel modifier and mirror modifier. Then add a material to the cage. join all of them. Right click, set shade smooth, go to object data properties, tick auto smooth. Then the shading is still a little bit weird. Let's put 31 maybe. Okay, we fix it. Then we need to move the origin to the bottom. Untick the origin again. Okay, now we done the cache. So let's name this cache and hide it. Next, we can start to assemble the corridor using geometry nodes. So add a cube in the 3D viewport. You can add whatever mesh you want. It doesn't matter at all. Rename it corridor. Go to geometry node tab. Add a new geometry node to the cube. Add a curve line. Connect it to the group output. Okay, now I want to clone all our 3D assets onto this line. So let's add a combine XYZ and connect it to N. Then add an integer node and connect it to the x-axis. Okay, now we are able to adjust the length using this integer. Add instance on point node after the curve line. Then select door and wall and add them into a collection. Let's name it body. Put whatever name you like, it doesn't matter at all. Then drag the body collection into the geometry nodes. Take separate children, reset children, and pick instant, connect to instant. Okay, now our 3D asset is all 2 meters long. So in order to make it easy to do the calculation in the geometry node, I want to make them 1 meter long. So the easiest way to reduce the length from 2 meters to 1 meter is simply change the scale instant to 0.5. That means we are reduced the scale by 50% and now the instant object is 1 meter. Okay, now let's increase the integer numbers. So you can see when the integer is more than 1 meter, the wall is not sticking together anymore. And the reason is because now the instant object is cloned on the vertices of the line. And now we only have 2 vertices on the line, which is the start point and end point. Now the curve line is 2 meters long and the instant object is 1 meter long. So this is the reason why when the curve line is longer than 1 meter, the wall will not stick together anymore. So to fix this issue, every time when we increase the length of the curve line, we need to add 1 vertices in between the curve line in order to make all of the wall stick together. So to add a vertices in between the curve line, we need to add a resample curve node, put it after the curve line. By default, resample curve will apply 10 vertices on the curve, but we actually don't need so many points. All we need is every time when we increase the integer here, we need to add 1 to the resample curve. So let's add a math node. Add 1, connect the integer to the math node and connect it to the resample curve. Okay, now everything is stick together. And then I want to randomize the arrangement of this instant object as well. So to do it, let's add a random value. Change the data type to integer, connect it to instant index. Let's play with these numbers to randomize it. Frame this node and name it body. Okay, next, we need to add the door section into the geometry nodes. So to do it, we need to add a separate geometry node, put it after the resample curve. So separate geometry is actually separate the curve line into 2 parts. That means now we can add another set of instant object to the curve line. So the body is now connected to the selection output and we can add the door section to the invert output. Let's add a join geometry before the group output. Drag the body section higher so that we have more space. Duplicate this instant on point node, press alternate P to unframe it. Drag the door section into geometry node editor. Connect the invert output to the point. Connect the geometry to the instant. Connect the instant to join geometry. Untick the pick instant. And now it's nothing happened because we still need to select which point we want to invert. So what I want to do is I want to add the door section for after every 8 points. So to do it, let's add an index node, connect it to selection. Then add a math node after the index node. Change this to ping pong, put 4 for the scale. Then try to increase the integer to check the result. Okay, everything looks good for me. So in case you don't know what is ping pong, the shape of ping pong is actually up and down like this. So in this case, we are using ping pong with the scale of 4. So if you actually have to select the point after every 8 points. Okay, let's select this node, frame it and name it door section. Okay, next, we need to add floor to the geometry node. So let's move this higher, move this lower, duplicate this instant on point node, press alternate P to unframe it, drag the floor into the geometry node editor, connect geometry to instant, connect the instant to join geometry. And now, we are not going to add the floor to the door section here. We only want to clone the floor at the body section. So that means we need to take the point from selection output and connect it to the instant on point node. I think we need to move the floor slightly higher. So let's add a translate instance, put it after the instant on point node, put 0.1 for the z-axis. Okay, now we done the floor. So let's frame all this node, press F2 and name it floor. Next, I want to add the cage. So again, let's move this higher, move this lower, duplicate this instant on point node, press alternate P to unframe it, drag the cage into the geometry node editor, connect geometry to instant, connect the instant to join geometry. For this one, we are not going to add the cage to the door section. I only want to clone the cage at the body section. So that means we need to take the point from selection output as well, connect it to instant on point node. I think we can make it smaller, press numpad 3 to see the front view. Let's decrease the scale to 0.44 maybe. Then we need to move it higher. Okay, now let's frame them, press F2 and name it cage. Okay, next we need to add the door and control the door using an empty object. So again, let's move all this node higher. Duplicate this instant on point node, press alternate P to unframe it, drag the left door into the geometry node editor, connect it. So for this one, we only want to add the door to the door section. So that means we need to take the point from invert output and connect it to the instant on point node. Okay, then we need to move the door to the correct location. So let's change the scale instant back to 0.5, add translate instant, adjust the position. Okay, next, we can start to add the controller to control the movement of the door. So let's add another translate instant. In the 3D viewport, add empty object, rename the empty object controller, drag the controller into the geometry node editor. Then I only want the door to move in y-axis direction. So let's add a combine XYZ, connect it to translation. Okay, now we need to get the position of the door. Then we need to let Blender know the distance between the door and the controller. So we need a vector math node. Change the operation to distance. Then connect the position of the door to the distance. Connect the location of the controller to the distance as well. Then try to connect the distance to y-axis. And now you can see the door is not in the correct place. So to constrain the door in the same position, we need to add a map range after the distance. Okay, now let's try to adjust the controller. And now we can see when the controller comes closer to the door is closed. And when the controller leaves the door is open. So that is the complete opposite of what we want. To correct it, let's add a mix RGB node, connect the map range to factor. Then add value node to color 1 and 2. So let's rename this door open. This value will control movement of door opening. Rename this door close. This value will control movement of door closing. Then try to put 1 to the door open. Adjust the controller again to see the result. Okay, I think I don't want the door to open so wide, so let's reduce the value of door open to 0.7 maybe. Okay, it looks good for me. Now I want the door to start open before my controller near the door, and I also want the door to close after my controller leave for a while. So to do it, let's go to the map range, increase the from max to 3 and to max to 2, so you can experiment with this value to get the result you like. Okay, now we have done one side of door. Frame all this node, name it left door. Then next, we need to add another side of door. So press Ctrl+Shift+D to duplicate all these nodes. Connect the translate instance to join geometry. Then go to the instance on point node, change this object to right door. Then change the door open to -0.9. Let's rename this right door. Okay, now we have done the door. Next, we need to duplicate the wall to another side and randomize the arrangement again. I don't want both sides of wall to look exactly the same. So to do it, let's go to the body section. So I want to duplicate the node of body section and floor section. Select them, press Ctrl+Shift+D to duplicate it. Add a join geometry, join the body and floor together. Then hold alternate right click and connect this join geometry to the join geometry before group output. Then rotate the instance object 180 degrees. Add a translate instance after the join geometry. Put -2 for the x-axis. Okay, then let's play with the seed number here to randomize the arrangement of the instance object. Then let's try to adjust the integer number to check the result. Okay, everything looks good. Next, we can start to add lighting and camera to the scene. So in the 3D viewport, select the controller, press Shift+S and select cursor to selected. Then add a camera. Change the rotation to 90, 0, -90. Select the camera, hold Shift and select the controller. Press Ctrl+P to parent it. Move the controller higher. Press numpad 0 to see the camera view. Switch this to 3D viewport. We need to see the top view. Then I think I want to start the camera from here. Go to the timeline, we can start keyframe it. So select the controller, right click the location x-axis, add a single keyframe. Right click the rotation x-axis and add a single keyframe as well. Then press this button to jump to the end frame. Drag the controller to the end. Right click and add a single keyframe. For the rotation, let's key in 360 degrees. Right click and add a single keyframe as well. So now we need to add lighting. So let's go to around frame 60. Go to render properties tab. Change the render engine to Cycles. Device to GPU. Then turn on the render preview. Okay, now it's too dark. Let's try to increase the strength of emission light. Okay, next, I want to add area light behind every door. So to do it, we need to unhide the door. Select the door. Press numpad / to focus it. Press Shift+S and select cursor to selected. Select the collection here. Add area light. Go to geometry node editor. Add a new geometry node. Drag the area light to the geometry node editor. Remember to click as instance, otherwise it won't appear. Then we can hide the area light. Add a join geometry. Connect the aerial light to join geometry. Add a transform node before the aerial light. Okay, now we need to put the light behind the door here. Change the background color to black color. Then I think we can increase the brightness of the aerial light. Okay, then press numpad / again to unfocus the door, hide the door. Then let's increase the strength of the emission light on the floor as well. Okay, now I want to add a text on the door. So let's select the right door and hide it. Press numpad / to focus it. Go into edit mode, switch the selection mode to edge select. Then select the edge of the door. Then right click and select Mark Seam. Switch the selection mode to face select. Select all the face. Press U and click unwrap. Go to UV editor. Let's open the image. I have put the image in the description below. Please download it and follow along the tutorial. Hover your mouse onto this map. Press L to select it. Make it smaller and move it beside. Select this one, scale it bigger and put it here. Okay, then go to shader editor. Press home button to see the node. Add image texture node. Click open to add the image. Then connect it to base color. Okay, now the text color is red color. I want to make it black and white. So let's add a color ramp. Change this to constant. Now we come to the final step. Before we render the animation, we need to unhide the door. Go to render properties tab. I want to reduce the render samples to 200. Activate the noise. Untick the caustic, we don't need it. Then go to output properties. Choose where you want to output the file. Go to render and render the animation. And now we done it. So if you like my video, please subscribe and see you in the next video. Bye.